Alright, we got a few. So welcome everyone to the Cryptocurrency Australia live stream. Just going to have a look at some market news. Going to check out the actual market itself. Going to have a look at a few news articles and just have a chat with you guys. Keep it casual. So checking out the market, we can see we've got a bit of a dip today, guys. 742 billion. Let's have a little bit of a look and see if we can work out what's going on. So just yesterday we hit a peak of around 820 sort of billion dollars. We've had a small correction. So the market's dipped. What to do? Well, really guys, in the grand scheme of things, it's actually a pretty small dip. You know, you hear a lot, buy the dip. That's the truth. It's the truth. You buy low, sell high. Not financial advice, but generally when you see these kind of dips, the market is setting a new baseline. So it's people will have sell orders in, or there could even be certain events going on around the world at the time. Something will generally trigger a small correction. And when you see these kind of corrections, it's actually healthy for the market because it sets a new baseline and then it moves on from there. So if you're looking at like getting in at a certain coin, or you're looking at other coins in general and you're just trying to analyze the market, these kind of times they're good, they're healthy. And I actually like to see them. Having been around cryptos for nearly a year now, these are so regular. They happen all the time. If we check out the global charts, you know, just looking at the last couple of months, you can see these corrections, they happen all the time. If we have a look at year to date, or we go past, have a look at the past year, it doesn't really look like it at the moment when you zoom out from this level, but all of these dips at that time were actually more significant. And you can see here this quite a big dip here. So these are normal. They happen all the time and they're healthy, because I think when there's a large run up in money, especially if you've been in this for a while, you're sometimes thinking like, what's going on? What's triggered this huge amount of money? You're trying to get an understanding for the market sentiment and the behavior. So how are people feeling? How are investors feeling? How are new investors feeling? How are experienced investors feeling? That's one thing I always try and do, is I try and analyze the behavior of the market and try and get my head around what people are thinking and what's going on in the world, because it gives you like a good position strategically on where it's going to go from here. It's not always easy to do, and it's definitely not a science either. That's just one way I like to look at it. So we can see Bitcoin down 7%, 7.7, Ripple down 26%, Bitcoin Cash down, pretty much down all across the board. Seeing this Tron seems to have kind of flatlined after it's hit this peak here. I really don't know much about Tron, but I've seen a lot of things on social media going around that the white paper for this project was heavily plagiarized. Now I could be wrong, but some things I've seen have indicated that large portions of the white paper for Tron are just copy paste. Now that's, you know, anyone can go and grab a white paper and copy it. So that's a bit of a red flag. Oh, Moofy, what's going on? Yeah, Living Room Satoshi's awesome. So Qtum down 36%, Bitcoin Gold. It's interesting too, guys. Normally the stronger projects are the ones that don't feel the dip as much, unless they've just had a big run up on the back of some really significant announcements or market news. That's one trend that I notice. Doesn't always apply, but it applies quite a bit. Ardor down 13%. Where's some other ones? Augur up 21%, sorry. Basic Attention 12%. This is an interesting one to keep your eye on, guys. Basic Attention is quite an ambitious project. It's a browser that essentially allows people to load cryptocurrency onto it, and then microtransactions will be made to the websites that people visit or the YouTubers. So if a YouTuber actually sets up an account with Basic Attention and then you are using the browser and you load some cryptocurrencies on there, you can actually set a percentage of your watch time and allocate that to tokens to actually go to that YouTuber. So It's a very innovative new kind of fundraising, or I guess Patreon's type of support mechanism using cryptocurrencies. I reckon some big stuff will come out of basic attention in the future, so it's one to keep your eye out on. Ethos down 11.5%. Ethos has had a massive run up the last week. Absolutely huge. Some big things I think will come from Ethos in the future. That's one to keep your eye out on, guys. It's one to really keep your eye out on. So scrolling down, we can see, you know, it's funny too, you have these list of top 100 projects, and the projects that are still early in development, which are most of them, will, you know, spend time in the top 100, then they'll spend time in the top 100. I actually like finding good projects that are out of the top 100 because they're getting less exposure. They're getting less exposure, and that's a good thing. You want to get in on the projects that are low on the radar and that meet a bunch of other criteria, but when they're low on the radar, I actually see that strategically as a big advantage. You can see 10x here now down to number 89. So 10x obviously affected by the recent Wave card cancellation by Visa. That's just incredible. That blows my mind that actually happened. I think it affected a lot of different cards. Absolutely insane that was allowed to happen. I feel sorry for the people that were traveling overseas that had cryptocurrency cards, and then next minute had they're not able to access their funds. They couldn't use them. I just think that's insanity. So that's the market overview. If we just have a look at the dominance, we can see still Bitcoin's dominance still tending to drop. Looking over at the past year, it's crazy how volatile this is. This to me just shows how new this market is. This to me is an indicator that you have like a huge portion of the wealth is either in Bitcoin or generally spread across the altcoins. I believe in the future that will stabilize and you'll have a fairly steady altcoin growth market and a fairly steady Bitcoin growth market. That's what I think will happen in the future as things start to stabilize, as more money comes in, as cryptocurrencies legitimize more, things will start to stabilize. So moving on into the news, this is one I wanted to cover with you guys. Life-saving stolen from secondhand Ledger hardware wallet. So this looks like this poor guy bought a Ledger off eBay, a second-hand one, and the guy that sold it to him has obviously had a copy of the 24-word passphrase or had a copy of the seed and was actually able to access this guy's funds after this guy got it. Crazy. And that's just a word of caution for you guys. When you're buying these things, it's just not worth trying to save a little bit of money for something secondhand. Just buy yourself a new one. Make sure it's fully wrapped in the plastic. Make sure the plastic has not been compromised in any way when you get it. And for those who are new to cryptos too, the private key is kept in here. So the private key, that's your really important thing. That's like your master key for your lockbox. Try and think of that as an example. The private key is contained within here. You can't actually access it, which is what actually makes it so safe. So if you lose that and you've got that 24-word seed phrase, you can back it up. That's the important thing. And the thing is too, guys, as cryptocurrencies become worth more and more, and I believe they will continue to, the incentive for bad actors to be malicious will increase. So it's just not worth mucking around when you're getting into this world, guys. And it is complicated too, and I get that. I get it's complicated, but just keep learning and keep your funds safe, guys. So over here on this article here, Binance, Bitfinex, Bittrex temporarily say no to new users. So they've actually had to block new users to the platforms because the volume is so high. Isn't that insane? Hey, Jason. Yeah. So this is crazy. Think about it, guys. Like, yeah, cryptocurrencies are starting to get more mainstream attention. Yes, they're popping up in the news more. Yes, more and more people know about it, but we are still so early. I mean, most projects haven't even kicked off past development phase. Yet there's still this many users trying to get on exchanges. How exciting is that? I mean, that really shows you just, again, how early we are. But check this out, Binance, 250,000 users a day. My God, that is a lot of people. That would be mostly due to A, they are an excellent exchange, and B, they have a very good referral program as well. And that has been spreading the word. So I think Binance has reopened its registrations based on a video I saw from box mining. I think Binance have reopened. They are an excellent exchange. Everything happens very quickly. That's what I love about them. But crazy, guys, just crazy to, again, shows you how early we are in cryptocurrencies adoption. And you know, I think in the future, buying cryptocurrencies is going to become a lot easier. So at the moment, like when you're trying to tell someone about how to buy Bitcoin or how to buy some cryptocurrencies, you're like, oh, you got to sign up to an exchange, you got to do this, you got to do that. And most people are just like, too much. But I think in the future, it'll just become really easy. People will either be able to just buy it with a credit card or through maybe a PayPal gateway. There'll be some easy way, and it'll depend on what platform they're using. So let's just, as an example, NLC2 coin, that's the fantasy league platform. People will just go and use this platform, which is cryptocurrency powered, and they'll just be able to buy that native cryptocurrency. Really easy to be able to use in the platform. They won't have to go and make an account with an exchange. I think that's what will happen in the future. The usability will increase significantly. We're just still in early days, and like I always say, look for signs on where we are in terms of adoption, because that gives you strategically a really good foundation for investment purposes. Because if we're this early on and the prices are at X, what will happen in a few years when all the creases are being ironed out, all these platforms are up and running, are successful, hundreds of thousands of people are using them. In addition to that, the platforms with really strong, sorry guys, I think we just cut out there for a sec. The platforms with really strong tokenomics, or their economic model where that token itself is required to access a service, they're the really strong ones, guys. Either the ecosystems, the decentralized ecosystems like your Neos, like your Ethereums, like your Lisk, like your EOS, where the token is required in the ecosystem, or the really strong token models where some game or platform or service, that token is required. And if that platform itself is solving a massive problem and is run by a really good team, I mean, they're going to be the really, really strong ones. So Bitcoin in Japan, it's getting big. Bitcoin is getting really big in Japan. I've been to Japan twice, and it is one of my, if not my favorite country. Japan, the technology, like how far ahead they are in everything they do. Like, they've got life figured out. The Japanese just know how to do life, like better than anyone. It's true. They really know how to do life, guys. Bitcoin's getting massive. Bitcoin's getting massive over there. And that's really exciting stuff, because Japan last year legalized Bitcoin to be used as a legal form of tender alongside the Japanese yen. So the two currencies are like side by side, I believe, have equivalent legal status. I actually did try reading the Japanese ruling on Bitcoin becoming legalized, and it was tough to read. There was an English version, but it was tough to read. But this is huge. This is huge. Because Japan, not only are they technologically so advanced, but they're a huge population as well. And that leads me into what I'm going to do a video on very soon, guys. The Lightning Network. This is very, very exciting stuff coming to Bitcoin. I've just started doing some research on it, and I mean, it's going to be a game changer. So basically, from what I can get my head around, what I've learned so far is transactions will occur through payment channels off-chain. So there'll be different entities, and basically, if one entity wants to pay another, it goes through payment channels. Now, there'll be something called a time lock on a transaction. So if a transaction is broadcast through this payment channel, a smart contract is initiated with a time lock where there'll be like 3 days for that transaction to be accepted by the other parties, or else the Bitcoin would be refunded back to the person that sent it. And if all parties agree, it's done off-chain through the payment channel, so it doesn't have to be broadcast to the blockchain. Now, if one of these parties doesn't agree or doesn't play by the rules, then the transaction is automatically broadcast to the blockchain. And the reason the history of this has been in development for a couple of years. The history of this is they went down this path instead of increasing the block size, because by increasing the block size, the more Bitcoin is adopted and used, the more you have to keep increasing the block size, and it becomes economically challenging because computer space, the hard drive space required on people's computers to run nodes, and nodes are essential for Bitcoin's operation. I've got a node on this computer. I don't run it all the time, but I do have it. The hard drive space will increase exponentially, and it will become economically unfeasible to run a node. And because of that, Bitcoin's integrity, its built-in trust, will actually drop. So that's why they went down this Lightning Network path, to ensure that it's essentially infinitely scalable in the future. It'll still be economically feasible for people to run nodes and for miners, and it will allow instant, virtually fee-free transactions. It's very exciting stuff, guys. Very, very exciting stuff. And word on the street is it will be coming in a matter of months. So I'm extremely excited for this, and I just want to keep learning more and really get my head around it. And then I'm going to do like an explainer video on it. But very, very exciting stuff. Highly recommend you go and watch this video. It goes for about an hour. Joseph Poon giving a demonstration on it. This was from back in February 2015, so a couple of years ago, guys. Quite a while ago. So it's been in development for a long time. So very exciting stuff. So that's it for this live stream, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. Hope it was interesting. I'm going to try and do more and more of these to basically so I can upload more, because the production time, filming, research really does take a long time, and unfortunately it limits how much I can upload just because of how long it takes, and I really want to start uploading more. So if this is good, if you like it, likes are always really appreciated, guys. Thanks for tuning into the comments. I'll do a full Q&A live stream soon, and yeah, thanks again for tuning in, guys. I'll see you in the next one. See ya.